Hi, welcome to Nutritional Medicine by Lab Analysis. I'm Dr. Cyrus Thomas. I have been a chiropractic physician for 34 years, practicing chiropractic nutrition mostly, and doing a lot of lab analysis with blood tests, urine analysis, saliva analysis, stool analysis, to determine what nutrients to best use to get healthy. It may seem obvious to you why somebody might want to be healthy, but this show is called Why Get Healthy. We're going to bring up some ideas that may trigger you to think about why you're not as healthy as you could be. And so that's a philosophical point. It's a spiritual point. For some, maybe it's even religious. Let's take a look at what some of those ideas might be. So we're talking about why health. Well, you want to feel good. A lot of people don't know what they're really feeling. They're in sort of a daze. If you're taking a lot of meds, you might be dazed or mildly spaced out. And you can feel better. You might not know that you can feel better until you actually get better. And that's the catch-22 about healthcare. Live long. A person who's not feeling well does not want to live long. They might be saying, I've kind of had it with being here. I've been here enough. I've done what I can do. And maybe, is this all there is? Why should I stay? Well, if you start feeling healthier, that attitude and that mood can actually change. The mood of boredom or being very pensive is not a happy state, and it can lead to mild melancholia. It can lead to melancholy, depression, clinical depression, suicidal, if things keep going on a bad trend. So wanting to live long is something that it's a feeling people usually have when they're feeling better. They go hand in hand. Another good reason to be healthy is to be pain-free. When you are pain-free, you're more likely to feel good and to want to live long. We can get used to our pain. We get so used to our pain that it actually begins to mask many of our other symptoms that we're having. So sometimes in the course of treatment, when I'm working with somebody with nutrients as medicines, we work on getting them out of pain. We do some chiropractic, some physical therapy. And when they're out of pain, then they begin to realize that they have symptoms they didn't know that they had, like maybe digestive problems or problems with good elimination, skin problems, and different things will arise. The body only handles really one major problem of malady at a time. Once that malady is ameliorated or made better, you'll then become aware of the next one that you need to work on. When you do that in a series, you finally keep working on more and more and more. You say, well, why would I want to go through all that? Well, it can take 6 months to a couple of years, depending on how sick you've gotten before you started to get well. But as you do this in a series, you do finally come to the end where each day you're feeling pretty good. You don't have pains. You feel good about life. You're interested in things. And you can go on and make the best of this. Travel. We want to get healthy so that we can travel. About everybody enjoys traveling. Going somewhere, visiting family, going to a foreign country. It's when we're interested in life that we have more interest in travel. I do a lot of traveling on travel shows with documentaries on television because they do such a great job at bringing you to these places. And so I can travel actually all around the world because I'm here oftentimes working with my medical practice. Another reason to be healthy is to enjoy many foods. Variety is the spice of life. Somebody who can enjoy a lot of different foods is limited in the amount of enjoyment they can have. I remember once patients saying, but I don't like asparagus, so why should I eat them? And I say, well, if you don't like them, you shouldn't eat them. However, the fact that you don't like them means that you cannot enjoy them. And to enjoy them as part of the variety of all the different vegetables and foods there are to eat is a key element in the definition of what is health. To go to museums, to go to concerts and go to events. Personally, I'm tired of museums, but and concerts I'm not that crazy about because the audio quality on a CD is much better than at the concert. But it's just to make the point that there are things to do out there, and there are things to have fun with and to want to go to and be part of. Having relations. We're talking about the sexual body here. In America, we've been pushed to think that we should be sexy and sexed all the way well into our 80s, and if you're not, you ought to take a medication for it. False, false, false. It has its own natural progression. And your natural progression and your natural amount of libido is based on how healthy you are, whether you have a partner that you're in love with, that you engage with. If those things aren't there, well, then your libido is a bit of a waste of energy in those later years. But plenty of people enjoy libido through their 70s, and it makes sense if it's there to actualize it. Enjoy the family and grandkids. That's the biggest reason people have for wanting to live long, is to enjoy their grandkids and their family. And that's a great reason in itself. Of course, you'll enjoy them more if you're not in pain and you feel good. Another one is to earn more and to save money. By being healthy, we can work, we can put some money in the bank, and we can have a comfort cushion, so to speak, to allow us to feel comfortable about the future. It doesn't have to be much money. And certainly, if you can't, if you don't feel good and you're in pain, it's going to be difficult for you to be a good wage earner, to earn more money and to have more relaxation, more cushion of security in your life. You also want to be healthy to avoid surgery. People think, well, I'll just keep going, and when it breaks, we'll take it out and I'll be fine. We can take out the tonsils, the adenoids, we can take out the spleen, we can take out the appendix, we can take out part of the colon, part of the intestine. They can shrink my stomach. They can take out any tumor that becomes a cancer. This sort of, they'll take it out philosophy, surgeons love, that's their work, but it's an assault on the body every time it's done. And when you are anesthetized, you're actually put to death. And there's a good chance, there's not a good chance, there's a small chance that you might not come out of the anesthesia. We don't talk about that very much, but it does exist. And there's also the chance that you might be anesthetized and paralyzed, unable to communicate. They're in that state, and yet you're feeling the pain of the surgery. There's a few websites where you can look that up. We want to avoid surgery at all costs. It means things have gone too far. It means we didn't take care of things when we could have with more preventive and alternative means. And it means we just let it go until it became too late and surgery as a last resort was required. Surgery should never be a first or second resort. Another reason to be healthy is for spiritual reasons. Well, what does that mean? I think that means that to be willing to have something wonderful happen in your life, to have a sense that there is some order to your universe, that there is some connection with a higher energy of some sort. To have that feeling of being willing to have something wonderful happen to you, and to have the feeling that good things are happening now, and good things will continue to happen, and that you will continue to love others and they will continue to love you. That's a very spiritual type of universe that we can create by being healthy and feeling healthy. It's a spiritual thing, really, to feel healthy. Let's see what else we have here. If I can get my laptop to work, we'll be fine. We'll be able to see the next picture, but it seems to be locked up right now. There we go. What are some obstacles to cure? Well, too many carbs, breads, cakes, pies, cookies. They're all fun things. And nobody's saying that you'll never have another piece of bread or cake or some pie or a cookie again in your life. Any of these things can be done once a month. But when you start doing ice cream every night, cookies every night, cakes and pies every time you go out for dinner, having bread every day, now there's too many carbs. And the person is going to move towards a pre-diabetic state. We call it Syndrome X, where the pancreas isn't going to work as well. You're not going to make as insulin like you used to. And your blood sugar is going to rise and go down and rise and go down. So then you're going to crave coffee. You're going to want more sugar, Syndrome X. It's good to get out of that. And by reducing carbs rather dramatically, that is a good way to do that. Of course, alcohol, I like to say a glass of wine or two at night is not a bad thing, but statistics actually show that no alcohol is better for health. Tobacco, we know the health risks of tobacco. If a person is able to smoke once a week or so, I don't believe it would damage them too much, especially if they smoked organic tobaccos like American Spirit or Sherman's. But when you are addicted to tobacco and have to do it on a regular basis, it is quite detrimental to the health. Marijuana, some say it's non-addictive, but we see that it actually is. People who smoke marijuana the next day will feel a little low, a little more depressed. They're actually detoxing from the marijuana that they smoked the day before. And the best way to get out of that is to smoke it again. And that's how addiction takes place. We're constantly trying to take away the detox feeling from what we did the day before. Avoiding these will always move us towards health. Psychotropics, just because they're legal, pharmaceutical drugs, and just because they were prescribed by a pharmaceutical prescribing doctor, physician, does not make them good. Psychotropics are is a really baby science right now. It's just in its beginnings, and we're throwing all kinds of chemicals into people's brains these days and watching to see what it will do. Quite a dangerous field to get mixed up in. If you're on psychotropics, you're on mood elevators, you're on serotonin enhancing medications, talk to somebody who practices nutrition like myself or a naturopath and find a way to titrate or wean yourself down from those and live the rest of your life without psychotropics. Sugar and ice cream, we've talked about. Deep fried foods. One of the formulas for making cancer is to mix bad oils, like in deep fried foods, with flours, and then add sugar. You put those together, you're moving towards diabetes, cancer, cardiovascular disease, all the major killers of mankind. In fact, clinical researchers in laboratories, when they want to make dogs or rabbits or rats sick so that they can test different medications on them, they give them flour or oatmeal sometimes with bad fats like corn oil, soy oil, even canola oil, and then they give them sugar or high fructose corn syrup. That is the formula in all laboratories for making animals sick, and guess what? That's the American diet. And that's the diet that has been spreading into Mexico, China, Europe, and it's a problem over most of the world now. Go to good oils, canola oil, butter, olive oil for salads. Don't use flours. Essentially, if you're going to need a flour to make something, use a rice flour and reduce all your grains to non-gluten grains and with a predominance of eating rice. And as far as deep fried foods, just don't deep fry anymore. You can pan fry, you can wok fry, you can bake. So bad oil plus sugar plus flour equals diabetes and cancer. This is the formula for lab animals, as we've said. The difficulty with getting healthy, well, to overcome it, there's 12-step programs. 12-step programs are involved with alcohol, all the different drugs, nicotine, even emotions and gambling. There are 60 different forms of 12-step groups. They help people make a discovery about themselves and the things that bother them about themselves that lead them towards wanting to numb out with the substance that they use to numb out on a daily basis. 12-step programs help you get in touch with why you do that. An important tool. Self-discipline. Many of us cannot overcome the cravings that we have for the sugars and the flours. You know, all grains have opioids in them. And when we consume grains in the form of flour, we're able to digest and get to those opioids really fast. And so they sort of calm us down a little bit, and we like them. We wonder, why do I crave white bread? My God, it's a bad thing. Well, opioids, we now know. Another difficulty with having self-discipline is that there's sadness and loneliness. One of the largest feelings that a human can have, one of the most predominant feelings, throughout the world is sadness and loneliness. How do we deal with that? Well, you get yourself out of the house and you go to a group that's discussing something that interests you, whether it's media and video like we do here at the studio, whether it's a 12-step program where you're talking to other people about who have the same problems that you do, whether you go to a vegetarian meeting or a Buddhist meeting or your church to talk with people. You deal with loneliness and sadness by creating a sense of community, and that's good for you. A loss of purpose to living. So many people have gotten to the point where they said, I'm done here, I've had enough. Well, you're allowed to say that, and you're allowed to feel that, but your body might not be ready to translate, to die at that time. And so you'll be stuck here, living day to day, feeling like, why am I here? I've already done enough. I'm ready to go. Lord, please take me. You need to get healthy. We actually have a responsibility to God, to our inner spirit, to soul, however you might define that. We have a responsibility to that higher energy to take care of this physical temple and to be healthy. People might not have difficulty getting healthy because they have financial depression. They say, well, I can't change the foods I eat. I have to eat these cheap macaronis and these processed cheeses because that's all I can afford. Once you learn to make good choices with food, you can actually do quite well with your finances. This needs to be taught to people, and people like myself can teach you how to do this, how to do much, much better with your money and get much more nutrients from your food. Well, what to do? You need to get help in order to get healthy. Don't always think that you can do everything on your own. I don't need anybody. I don't need God. I don't need doctors. I don't like doctors. Well, if you're watching me and you think I'm making sense, then maybe you like me, and I'm a doctor. There's lots of people out there who can talk to you in a way that you'll find quite reasonable, and you might like them. So get help from them. They're there. And, we have to get to a place of humility where we say, I don't think that I can do all of this all by myself. This is a picture of what a child in England eats in 1 year. And if we were to do a close-up on all of these packages, you would see this was largely all processed and junk food. How is a person supposed to be cancer-free like that? This is what an American, average American eats in 1 year. Now here are some meats. Here are some carrots down below, some fruits and good things. But here are a lot of processed foods, way too much. All of this should just be stretched out to cover up all the processed. Now, how do you go shopping and avoid processed foods? Well, you stay around the outside of the grocery store. That's where the fresh fruits and vegetables are, where the good fish and meats and poultry is, where the good dairy is. As soon as you start going into the aisles, of course, there's good oil in the aisles, and maybe you want to pick up your coffee, there are things. But for the most part, we stay out of the central aisles because we don't want to buy canned food, processed food, food that has been processed in factories. Not a good idea. What are we eating? This is what an American will eat in a year. And up top here we have meat, poultry, fish, and shellfish, just right in this area here. Here's a little sliver for eggs, a little sliver for cheese. And these are dairy products, okay? These dairy products should be less. The cheese should be more. All of this should be more. It should take up require about 65% of calories should come from these healthiest foods. Fats and oils is a good thing. Fruits, maybe 1 fruit a day. You don't want to have too much fructose or you're going to overtax the liver, converting it to glucose. This is coffee, cocoa, and nuts. That's a small sliver as it should be. And the vegetables is a good section here. Corn is from here to here. Way too much corn in the United States. And wheat flour, way too large. If we eliminate everything from here to here, that would be just fine. And we can stretch all the rest back around, make this dairy, this white pasteurized milk section smaller too. A nutraceutical is an extract of foods with a medicinal effect on human health. You know, people often think that drugs in the pharmacy are very important and very wise and deeply thought out substances. They're really not. They're just man-made molecules that have been known to have effects that we want and try to ignore the 30 side effects that most of them have, which we just call side effects, and we say, well, talk to your doctor first because there might be a side effect that bothers you when you take this man-made molecule. Well, when you take natural molecules found in the environment, herbs, amino acids, enzymes, vitamins, and minerals, you're taking substances whose molecules and atoms were made a long time ago. They're already here. They are natural. They cannot be patented. So their price stays low, and they also, because they're not patented, they don't come under controlled substances. Now, the medical profession in our country has been trying to control nutrients for many years. Every couple of years, they try to pass a bill that makes it so that you would have to get a prescription to get any of those substances that are rows and rows of products in the health food store. They would like all of that to be prescription. If that happens, they'll be writing very few prescriptions for it because they haven't been trained in how to use naturally occurring molecules. The real difference between a nutraceutical and a pharmaceutical is whether or not it is man-made. In the last 30 years have shown an explosion in nutritional knowledge. Nutraceuticals are medicines. They are complex molecules. And it's quite a science to learn how to use them. This is when you have to turn a molecule from one molecule into another, oftentimes it requires an enzyme. So the green joins to the enzyme changes it to a red and a turquoise, and off they go. That's what enzymes do. And The different types of things that act as enzymes in the body are vitamins, minerals, and amino acids. They all transform molecules into other molecules which we need to feed ourselves. We have structural medicine, molecular medicine, talk therapies, and energetic medicines. Within the molecular medicines, we have food, nutraceuticals, which are prescription nutraceuticals, which are naturally found molecules, herbology, and drugs, which are man-made molecules. They're all molecular in nature. So we have to be careful how we use that word medicine and to know what we're really talking about. Whether it's a food, a nutraceutical, an herb, or controlled drugs, they're all chemicals. They all go in the mouth and to the intestines and then to the blood and then into the cells. They all go into the cells and affect chemistry there. One's naturally occurring, the other one is controlled and man-made. We're getting a little short on time here, so I'm just going to get through this. Good to have a blood test done with 52 different elements in that blood test, everything from a liver profile and kidney and minerals and heart and white blood cells, immune system, the red blood cells. We look at it all, we color code it, and then when we do studies later to see how well we did with the nutrients, we color code it again, and you can see a lot of the reds and the blues are gone, and the person is getting well. We get proof of care this way. And that's a close-up. Nutraceuticals are smart medicines. Don't stop your medications unless you have changes in your health. Many symptoms are asymptomatic, so we have to be careful there. Many symptoms mask other symptoms, so you don't realize all that you're going through. Paul Twitchell, who was the former spiritual leader of Eckankar, said that taste is consciousness. What he meant by that is that when you have something that you like the taste of, you're actually not satisfied until you swallow that substance and that substance becomes you. Think about that. If you were to just chew on chocolate and then spit it out, you would not get the full enjoyment of it. I'd like to thank the people here of the Community Media Center of Marin for making this show possible. This is my website, Integrative Alternative Medicines with an S.info, integrativealternativemedicines.info, and my office and my wife's office in San Rafael. We'd like to thank the crew for helping us with this show, Community Media Center of Marin. And again, look at my website. There's a phone number. I'll be glad to send you information on things that you would like to know more about. I have a host of information in the computer that I can email to people rather easily. So thanking you for watching this program, and may you be in good health.